rare condition doctors have diagnosed in some of the pickiest of eaters. Children so choosy that no amount of coaxing will get them to venture beyond a tiny selection of foods.
You remember how people often say, America is a free country? Well, you won't be fast to believe it's 100% truth when you've met with rules that place a blade on your gut. And guess what? Some of these rules are pretty odd, especially when it comes to what you can eat. You won't believe that some of your favorite delicacies have been banned in the United States. Here are the most forbidden cuisines in the US. Number 15. Kinder Surprise eggs. Did you know that the sale of food products containing objects that are not meant to be eaten has been banned by the Food and Drug Administration for around 80 years? This includes the famous European Kinder Surprise chocolate eggs, which have a toy inside. These eggs have become quite popular overseas, and there have been ongoing efforts like petitions and campaigns advocating to legalize them in the United States for several years. However, as of now, the sale of Kinder Surprise eggs remains prohibited in the United States due to concerns about them being a choking hazard. Even though the ban is in place, there have been instances where people have tried to bring them into the country. An article from the Wall Street Journal mentioned that starting in 2011, the United States Customs and Border Protection has confiscated over 160,000 Kinder Surprise eggs from travelers' baggage and international mail shipments. But here's an interesting twist. As of 2018, a slightly different version of the chocolate treat called Kinder Joy is available in the US. The packaging of Kinder Joy keeps the toy separate from the candy. Each half of the egg is covered in plastic wrap, so you can enjoy the candy and toy separately. So, while the original Kinder Surprise eggs are still off-limits in the United States due to safety concerns, chocolate lovers can now experience a modified version of the treat called Kinder Joy, which allows them to enjoy the chocolate and the toy without any risk. It's an exciting development for those who have been longing to taste the Kinder Surprise experience. Number 14. Haggis. Haggis is made by mixing sheep's heart, lungs, and liver with oatmeal, minced onion, suet, and stock. Interestingly, this pudding is traditionally served to guests within the sheep's stomach, which adds to its distinctive presentation. In Scotland, haggis holds a special significance and is often enjoyed on Burns Night. Burns Night is a nationwide celebration in honor of the renowned Scottish poet Robert Burns. It's a time for people to come together, recite Burns' poetry, and indulge in traditional Scottish cuisine, with haggis taking center stage. However, if you're of Scottish heritage residing in the United States, you won't be able to savor the authentic taste of haggis. This is due to a ban imposed by the USDA, United States Department of Agriculture, 47 years ago. The ban specifically prohibits the sale of sheep's lungs, which is one of the key ingredients in haggis. The United States Department of Agriculture implemented this ban in response to the emergence of scrapie, a degenerative disease that affects the central nervous system in sheep. As a precautionary measure, the ban was put in place to prevent the potential transmission of the disease through the consumption of sheep's lungs. Consequently, those longing for a taste of traditional Scottish haggis in the United States are unable to enjoy it due to the existing ban on sheep's lungs. However, there are modified versions of haggis available that use alternative ingredients, allowing enthusiasts to experience a similar flavor profile without compromising on safety. Number 13. Horse meats. There are numerous countries around the world where horse meat is consumed, but currently the United States is not one of them, at least not legally. The banning of horse meat for consumption is a relatively recent development that may surprise some. While it's not like grocery stores were previously stocked with horse meat, it was technically legal to eat it in America until the early 2000s. However, in the mid-thousands, animal activists began raising concerns about the sale of horse meat, which led to Congress passing a law that defunded inspectors for horse slaughterhouses. Since it is illegal in the United States to sell any meat that has not been inspected, people in America can no longer legally purchase horse meat. This move was supported by the belief that it was in the best interest of animal welfare. In March 2018, President Trump renewed the ban on slaughtering horses for meat, reinforcing the restriction. But in many other countries, such as China, the consumption of horse meat is neither illegal nor taboo. China has one of the largest markets for horse meat. Number 12. Shark fins. Shark finning is a practice that can be truly disturbing once you become aware of the process. Imagine renowned chef Gordon Ramsay introducing you to this cuisine, and the sight of it giving you goosebumps. To understand shark finning, we must start before the dish even reaches the kitchen. Picture a scenario where an individual cuts off a shark's fin while it is still alive. The helpless creature is then tossed back into the water, left to face a slow and agonizing death. It's no wonder that this practice has sparked intense debates and outrage. The demand for shark fins is driven by their popularity in countries like China and Hong Kong, where it has become an integral part of the culinary tradition. Over the past 2 decades, the demand for shark fins has skyrocketed, putting immense pressure on shark populations worldwide. What's interesting is that shark fin soup, despite being highly sought after, is known for its lack of flavor. It's almost ironic that a dish commanding such prestige has little to offer in terms of taste or nutritional value. To compensate for this, many recipes recommend adding herbs, spices, or even chicken or beef stock to enhance the soup's flavor. In addition, shark fin soup is also believed to possess medicinal properties and is used as a remedy for various illnesses. While shark fin soup may be considered a delicacy by some, it rarely finds its way onto menus in the United States. The reasons for this are multifaceted. Some attribute it to the taste, but the underlying truth might lie in the ethical concerns surrounding the mass slaughter of sharks for a dish that is perceived as average. It raises questions about the value we place on these magnificent ocean predators. Beyond personal opinions, the significance of sharks in our ecosystems cannot be ignored. If sharks were to disappear from the face of the earth, the consequences would be severe. Sharks play a crucial role in maintaining the balance of marine ecosystems by regulating populations of prey species. Their absence could result in a cascading effect that disrupts entire food chains and threatens the health of our oceans. So the next time you come across shark fin soup or the concept of shark finning, it's worth contemplating whether a fleeting culinary experience is worth jeopardizing the intricate web of life that sustains us. Why is a Japanese favorite food contraband in the United States? Number 11. Japanese pufferfish. This meal is commonly known as fugu. It's a unique Japanese delicacy that comes with a significant reputation. Fans of the popular TV show The Simpsons may recognize it by that name. However, fugu is not your typical seafood dish. It carries a level of toxicity that makes it highly dangerous if not prepared correctly. While fugu might be considered delicious by some, it's important to note that the fish is filled with a potent poison called tetrodotoxin. This toxin, found in its skin and certain organs, can cause paralysis and even death if consumed in sufficient quantities. The presence of this toxin is why the preparation of fugu requires expert skill and knowledge. In Japan, chefs who wish to serve fugu must undergo rigorous training and obtain a special license. They learn the precise techniques to carefully remove all the toxic parts of the fish, ensuring that only the safe and edible portions remain. However, even with extensive training, there is always a risk involved in preparing and consuming this strange delicacy. In the United States, the consumption of fugu is highly regulated. It is illegal for most establishments to serve fugu due to the potential health risks associated with its toxins. Only a select few sellers possess the necessary license to legally offer the meal to customers. This limited availability makes it challenging to find places where you can try fugu in the United States, even if you were to humorously mimic Homer Simpson's catchphrase and request "fugue me" at a restaurant. The strict regulations surrounding fugu reflect the inherent dangers associated with consuming this particular fish. While it may be considered a delicacy in the sushi world, the risks involved mean that its consumption is not widely permitted outside of Japan and a few authorized sellers in the United States. Let's move on to the next one. Number 10. Caviar. In Western society, caviar is often regarded as a luxurious delicacy. However, it may come as a surprise to many that certain types of caviar, particularly beluga caviar, are illegal in the United States. Beluga caviar is considered the most expensive caviar, with prices reaching up to $10,000 per kilogram. The reason for the ban on beluga caviar in the United States is the endangered status of the beluga sturgeon, the fish species from which this caviar is sourced. Beluga sturgeon populations have significantly declined over the years due to overfishing and habitat degradation. To protect the species from extinction, the United States implemented regulations in 2005 that prohibit the consumption and sale of beluga caviar. Although the ban is in place, there have been instances of fishmongers illegally selling caviar from beluga hybrid species, which are not subject to the same restrictions. However, it is important to note that consuming such caviar still contributes to the demand for endangered species and undermines conservation efforts. Now, the question arises, if you had the opportunity to try beluga caviar without the risk of getting caught, would you do it? It's an ethical dilemma that varies from person to person. Some may argue that consuming illegal seafood, regardless of the circumstances, is unacceptable due to the potential negative impact on endangered species and the environment. Others may have differing opinions on the matter. Number 9. Akie. Did you know that akie is the national fruit of Jamaica? But this tropical fruit has a unique characteristic which makes it dangerous if consumed when unripe. The unripe fruit of the akie contains high levels of a toxin called hypoglycin A. This toxin inhibits the body's ability to release glucose, which can lead to a condition known as hypoglycemia, where blood sugar levels become dangerously low. Symptoms of akie poisoning can include vomiting and dehydration, and in severe cases, it can even result in death. Due to these health risks, the importation of raw akie fruit into the United States was banned by the FDA in 1973. However, canned or frozen akie fruit that has been properly prepared and tested to have a low enough concentration of the toxin can still be purchased in the United States. These processed forms of akie are considered safe for consumption when prepared correctly. The akie fruit is native to West Africa and was introduced to Jamaica, where it has become an integral part of the country's cuisine. When the akie fruit ripens, it opens up to reveal 3 large black seeds, partially surrounded by soft, creamy or spongy white to yellow flesh. This flesh, known as the arils, has a texture similar to scrambled eggs and is said to have a nutty flavor. When ripe and cooked properly, the arils are considered delicious and are commonly used in Jamaican dishes such as akie and saltfish. While some countries that initially imposed similar bans on beluga caviar have since lifted or modified their restrictions due to population recoveries, the United States has maintained its stance. Harvesting and consuming beluga caviar in America remains strictly prohibited. Number 8. Queen Conch. The queen conch is a special food that you can mostly find in the Bahamas. It's like a fancy version of calamari. The meat is firm and white with a chewy texture. People usually steam or deep fry it, but sometimes they even eat it raw with fresh veggies. The queen conch is a big sea creature that belongs to the same group as clams, oysters, octopuses, and squids. It likes to hang out in warm, shallow coral reefs and seagrass beds. Can you believe some of them can grow up to a foot long? And they can live for almost 40 years. In the past, you could find queen conch in Florida too, but not so much anymore. The number of queen conch has gone down a lot since the 1970s because people were catching too many of them. Now it's against the law to over-harvest them in Florida. Did you know that the United States eats about 80% of the entire queen conch that's traded around the world? That means it's a really popular dish. But because the number of queen conch is going down, it's important to be careful and make sure we don't take too many. Number 7. Kasum Marzu. Kasum Marzu is a unique and controversial cheese that has earned the nickname rotten cheese due to its peculiar characteristic of being infested with live maggots. It is a type of pecorino cheese, which is crafted from unpasteurized sheep's milk. What sets Kasum Marzu apart is the presence of larvae from a specific fly species. These fly larvae play a curious role in the cheese-making process. As the cheese ages, the fly's eggs are intentionally introduced to it. Once the eggs hatch, the larvae start feasting on the cheese, creating tunnels and cavities within it. This activity promotes further fermentation and enzymatic breakdown of the cheese, giving it a unique flavor and texture. The larvae's movement also contributes to making the cheese softer. Traditionally, Kasum Marzu has been a part of Sardinian culinary heritage for many years. In local culture, it is considered a delicacy and is often enjoyed with the maggots still present in the cheese. Brave consumers would spread the soft, larvae-infested cheese on bread or crackers and savor the distinct taste. But Kasum Marzu has faced regulatory challenges. The European Union and the United States have banned the cheese due to health concerns. The presence of live maggots in a food product raises sanitary and safety issues, as consuming live insects can pose health risks. As a result, the production and sale of Kasum Marzu are prohibited in these regions. Number 6. Mechanically separated beef. MS beef. Despite its potentially appetizing name, mechanically separated beef, MS beef, is not available in the U.S. due to concerns about bovine spongiform encephalopathy, commonly known as mad cow disease. MS beef is a type of meat product that resembles a paste. It is produced by subjecting meat that is still attached to bones to high-pressure sieving. This process effectively separates the bone from the meat tissue. However, in 2004, the Food Safety and Inspection Service, FSIS, determined that this method posed safety risks and deemed it unsafe for consumption. The risk of mad cow disease is not limited to MS beef alone. Various other cattle parts are also prohibited for use in human food, including cow brains, eyes, spinal cords, and tonsils, among other specific organs. These restrictions are in place to mitigate the potential transmission of diseases associated with these parts. Therefore, if you happen to be in the U.S. and have a craving for cow tonsils or other prohibited cattle parts, you will not find them available for consumption. The regulations are in place to prioritize food safety and protect consumers from potential health risks associated with certain animal tissues. Subscriber's pick. In this captivating snapshot, we witness a group of people skillfully slaughtering a majestic wild salmon. Little do they know, this image holds the key to a hidden world of forbidden foods in the USA. Alex, a food enthusiast from France, was eager to explore the flavors of America. However, witnessing the slaughter of the salmon left him feeling uneasy. Seeking comfort, he ordered a glass of his favorite French drink, absinthe, only to be shocked when he was denied service. It turned out that absinthe was one of the forbidden foods in the USA. This discovery ignited Alex's determination to dig deeper and unravel the stories behind these forbidden flavors. From the alluring aroma of raw milk cheese to the mysterious Kasum Marzu with its wriggling larvae, Alex encountered passionate artisans and activists along the way. And as for the absinthe, you won't believe what Alex discovered about it. Dear viewers, to spice up the conversation in this interesting video, we would like to know what you think about these forbidden foods in the United States. Share your thoughts in the comment section. Number 5. Absinthe. Absinthe, a highly potent liquor known for its potential to induce euphoria and hallucinations, is considered one of the strongest alcoholic beverages available. Due to its rapid intoxicating effects, it has been illegal to consume in the United States for the past 50 years. This liquor has a history spanning over 200 years and originated in Switzerland. It is made using distilled grains, green anise, wormwood oil, fennel, and various other herbs. With an alcohol content of over 45%, absinthe gained popularity in Europe during the early 80s and made a significant impact in France. However, in 1878, the United States banned its consumption, and its presence in the country was short-lived. Absinthe is often referred to as the green fairy, due to its vibrant emerald green color. When consumed, it is typically poured over ice and sugar cubes to dilute its potency. In some cases, it is consumed straight, showcasing its intense strength. Talking about taste, absinthe shares similarities with sambuca, Italian anise-flavored liqueur, as both have a flavor reminiscent of black licorice. The herbal aroma, known as anise, contributes to this licorice-like taste. Opinions on this flavor are divided among people, but regardless, a mild bitterness is often experienced after consumption. Don't think that you can get absinthe anyhow, considering its restricted availability. However, as long as the alcoholic beverage contains less than 100 parts per million of thujone, a toxic chemical found in wormwood, it is legal in the United States. Exceeding this limit renders the drink illegal due to its reputed status as an addictive hallucinogen. Number 4. Ortolan. Let's dive into the fascinating story of the ortolan, a small and rare songbird that once held the status of a French delicacy. This little bird was considered so special that it was only enjoyed by kings, queens, and wealthy food enthusiasts. But why did the ortolan become so rare? Well, in 1999, France made it illegal to sell the bird within the country, and the European Union had actually declared it a protected species 20 years earlier. The United States also got on board with the protection of this little creature by banning its sale and importation. Now, let's talk about the ortolan's size. Imagine a bird that's no bigger than your thumb and weighs less than an ounce. It's truly tiny. Despite its small stature, the ortolan managed to capture the attention and appetites of people who had a taste for luxury. Unfortunately, nowadays, getting a chance to enjoy the ortolan is nearly impossible for most of us. It remains a delicacy that only a privileged few can experience. However, the fact that this bird is protected and its sale is prohibited reflects the growing awareness of the importance of conserving our natural world and its precious creatures. Number 3. Sea turtles. Sea turtles are magnificent creatures that have faced significant threats, including being hunted for their meat. In the past, there was a time when consuming turtle soup was popular, and as recently as 2007, it was estimated that around 35,000 sea turtles were being consumed annually in California alone. However, the situation has changed. Sea turtles have become endangered due to various factors, including overhunting and habitat destruction. Recognizing the need for conservation, legal protections have been put in place to safeguard these species. In the United States, sea turtles are now granted legal protection under the Endangered Species Act. This act designates certain species, such as the hawksbill, leatherback, Kemp's ridley, and green turtle, as endangered, while the loggerhead is listed as threatened. These legal protections aim to preserve and restore sea turtle populations, allowing them to recover from the brink of extinction. The Endangered Species Act prohibits the consumption of sea turtles, and it is against the law to eat them in the United States. This legislation reflects the importance of safeguarding these creatures and their habitats, as well as promoting conservation efforts to ensure their survival. While it is uncertain what the future holds for sea turtles, and if their populations will eventually recover enough to lift the endangered designation, it is crucial to respect and abide by the current protections in place. For now, consuming sea turtles in the United States remains illegal, as the focus is on their preservation and conservation. Number 2. Foie gras. Foie gras, a renowned delicacy in French cuisine, has long been a subject of ethical controversy due to the way it is produced. This has led to legislative actions in certain regions. For example, the City Council in Chicago implemented a ban on the production and sale of foie gras from 2006 to 2008. More recently, the state of California officially prohibited the sale of this delicacy, after previous attempts to do so had faced legal challenges. Foie gras is the fatty liver derived from ducks or geese. The process of obtaining this enlarged liver involves force-feeding the animals with a mixture of grain and fat until their livers become excessively swollen. This force-feeding, known as gavage, can cause significant discomfort and distress to the birds. As a result, they may exhibit behaviors such as feather plucking or even injure each other due to the stress they experience. While a nationwide ban on foie gras has not been implemented in the United States, California's recent success in banning its sale suggests a potential shift in the future. The ethical concerns surrounding the production of foie gras have prompted discussions about animal welfare and the need for more humane practices in food production. Number 1. Sassafras oil. Did you know that the root bark of the sassafras plant has a history of medicinal use by Native Americans for treating various illnesses? It was particularly used for fever and rheumatism. The sassafras tree itself is native to eastern North America and eastern Asia. However, the oil derived from sassafras has faced restrictions. In the 1960s, the United States Food and Drug Administration, FDA, banned sassafras oil due to concerns about its safety. There are two primary reasons for this ban. First, sassafras oil can be used in the production of psychoactive party drugs, which raises concerns about public health and safety. Second, one of the compounds found in sassafras oil, called safrole, is considered a potential carcinogen. It's important to note that the ban specifically applies to sassafras oil, not the sassafras tree itself. The tree remains legal, and extracts from the root bark are still permitted as long as they do not contain safrole. This means that sassafras flavorings or extracts used in products like root beer are now formulated without the use of sassafras oil to eliminate any potential health risks associated with safrole. The FDA's decision to ban sassafras oil was based on concerns about its potentially harmful effects, particularly due to the presence of safrole. The ban reflects a precautionary approach to public health and safety. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next video.